Good morning. I'm Claire Schleicher. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors. Welcome to White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. We are a community of youth, adults, and children of many diverse theologies, held together by covenant, not creed. Together, we share the values of courage, reverence, and compassion. May you know deep welcome and belonging in this place. We encourage that welcome by asking everyone to wear a name tag and to take a moment after the service to say hello to someone that you don't know yet. To share a request for today's meditation, please place it in the chat box before the opening hymn or add it to our meditation bowl. Please gain consent before you use someone's full name. The meditation bowl is in the Soul Work Center, right over here, along with some activities to help people of all ages engage with today's service. Welcome visitors, we are so glad you're here. If you're interested in learning more about our church community, please consider attending a brief 12-minute intro and tour happening immediately after the service today. Please come toward the fabric wall right here in the sanctuary, immediately after the service. Right over here, the fabric wall. This way, newcomers. And you will find someone holding a sign and ready to greet you and give you a tour. Welcome visitors, we are so glad you're here. If you have an in-ear hearing assistance device, we want to make sure that you know that you can connect your device to our hearing loop. It runs underneath the floor of the sanctuary in the social hall. The loop should provide you amplified sound during church gatherings. If you don't know how to connect your personal device into the hearing loop system, or you just want a refresher, we would like to invite you to a training session with our hearing loop technician today at 12:30 p.m. or this Thursday at 11 a.m., right here in the sanctuary. We are still looking for one person to help us run our Dining for Dollars fundraiser. If you are passionate about community meals and raising funds for this church community, please step up into this role. Contact Rob Jackson for more information. And this Wednesday night, please join us for our weekly dinner and programming. This week, we are hosting an all-ages open mic dance party, as well as our poetry circle. So please join us to learn more. So ends our announcements. Welcome to our church. Together, we grow our souls and serve the world in love.
Hello, y'all. My name is Ellis Delaney, and I use they, them pronouns. And, this is the finest adventure. Once I met a Frenchman who gave me half his pie. I don't speak any French. He didn't speak any English. But we shared a laugh and a pie and the beauty of the day, the beauty of the mountains. Ooh. Cafe in Amsterdam, it was a sit-down kind of show. I saw a dancer in the back. Yeah, she was smiling through her tears. She looked like a rainbow that had stepped out of the sky to dance. But everyone else was facing me. Was she real? Or was she make-believe? But I I talked to her after the show and she said life goes faster than you know when you are young. You must dance and sing every chance you get. Meet your life every day like you are in love. Be in love with your life, child. In my pocket there's a map. Well, really, it's a blank piece of paper. Let's take a walk. Let's wander together while we still have time. Before the sun goes down, the sun always goes down. Surely you and I can have the finest adventure. You've got a map in your pocket. I have a map. You've got a dream if you want it. I've got a dream too. Let's share our dreams. Let's dance and sing together. Oh, this is our life. The sun is rising before the night falls. I want to love you better and better and better and better and better. I want to love.
Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together, we make it a holy place. Welcome. My name is Amy, and my pronouns are she, her.
My name is Jennifer Carroll. My pronouns are she, her. Early in elementary school, I had been identified as a gifted learner. I had always been interested in school, even playing school with the neighborhood kids using the big green chalkboard we had in our basement. But by my freshman year of high school, I was becoming reckless and distracted. I was 14. In high school now, making new friends, pushing boundaries, and caring less and less about school. My English teacher had assigned us Harper Lee's 1960 classic novel, To Kill a Mockingbird, and it was the night before the final exam. I had failed to read a single chapter. I knew that this book had been made into a movie. Standing in our kitchen, I begged my mom to let me rent the movie from the video store before someone else took the last available VHS copy. Watching the film instead of reading the book was obviously the most efficient way to solve this problem. My mom balked at this ill-conceived idea just long enough for my dad to arrive home at the end of his long workday. When my dad learned of this scheme, he was incredulous. He had frequently told us the story of his hard-fought education. As a child, his schooling was often disrupted. He was often neglected by his absent and alcoholic parents, left on his own to look after himself and his younger sister. He recounted how a few teachers, he could count them on one hand, had encouraged him. Without their keen attention to his difficult circumstances, he would have surely flunked out of high school, never attended junior college, or graduated from pharmacy school. According to him, education had gotten him to where he was today. And where was he that day? Lecturing me about my poor academic judgment. Shirking my responsibility was bad. But worse, he said, was the huge disservice I would be doing myself if I missed out on the transformative experience that happens when a story unfolds in your mind, in your own mind. So begrudgingly at first, I was exiled to my room with the book. I discovered the voice of Scout Finch, the 8-year-old girl who narrates the story, which is set in the South during the Great Depression. I shared her childish fascination with and fear of their mysterious neighbor, Boo Radley. My eyes were opened to the harm of suspicion, racial prejudice, and violence, and how the bravery and empathy of ordinary people, kids even, could confront and reject those ideas. I emerged several hours later, tired but satisfied with my accomplishment. My lifelong love of language was more deeply etched in me that evening. Even though I would continue to make plenty more academic missteps, I learned that working through discomfort can bring rich rewards. I guess that explains my choice of profession. I became an English teacher myself. My dad couldn't have been more proud of that choice. In To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus Finch, in his loving wisdom, likewise teaches his daughter an important lesson. First of all, he says to her, if you can learn a simple trick, Scout, you'll get along a lot better with all kinds of folks. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. Today, I light the chalice for showing up to do the hard work, being open to the lessons the universe provides in whatever form the teacher takes, and for reading dangerous books.
Please join me in the opening words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our opening hymn is number 16 in the gray hardback hymnal, "'Tis a Gift to be Simple." Please rise in body or spirit.
Hello, y'all. I would love to invite all the kids in the room to come down here for story song. Anybody who wants to, you can come right down here, and don't be shy. Well, you can be shy if you want, but just know that I'm friendly. Yeah, so come on down. I've got a fun song for y'all. You know, there are lots of ways. Yeah. Well, come on down. Yes. This way. A little bit more. Awesome. Awesome. Oh my gosh, y'all are so bright. Thank you for your just being yourselves. Right? So this song I'm going to sing for y'all this morning is a song that is really joyful. It's about finding ordinary love, ordinary joys in your daily life, and sometimes creating your own joy. Do you ever create your own joy, like run around, have your own personal dance party? What are some things you do that you do yourself to create joy? Awesome. Yeah, complimenting your friends, making other people happy, because it makes you happy, right? It's kind of like that warm, fuzzy story. I don't know if you like them. Anyway. Electronics. Okay. So, yeah, there's a lot of joy in that, right? I mean, especially when it all works. Yeah. You like to run around? Awesome. Oh, and play in the playground. Yeah, there's a lot of joy there, isn't there? Oh my gosh, you ever make pretend things? Do you make up stories? Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many ways we can, and throughout the day we can just do things to create joy. And sometimes, you know, there are rules in life, right? We follow rules. Sometimes we like to, you know, especially the rules that are bendable. You know, we sometimes like to bend the rules. You know, and so this song is about bending the rules of breakfast. Yeah, this is a song called Pie for Breakfast. What do you think? You ready for a song? Which one? Oh, it could totally be strawberry rhubarb. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, we'll just think about that right now. Yeah, that's good. Awesome. Sometimes you have pie for breakfast. Sometimes you gotta bend the rules. Maybe you laugh when it's time to cry. Maybe you cry when things are good. It's all right if you want to dance, and if you don't, it's all right too. You can do right by the world and still be true to you. Strange days we're living in, like some kind of dream. We got the world in our pocket, popping up on a little screen. I've got a distracted mind, wrapped up in a restless heart. How do we break free to see the lighter side of the way things are? Yeah. Oh, I got distracted by your drumming. Oh, here we go. We're together, though. This is part of the fun. It's like having things fall apart a little bit. I've been around a little while. Had a few ups and downs. Felt like I'm running in place, trying to find steady ground. Well, there must be a reason why shadows follow the sun. Shadows at my back. I look ahead for that light to lead me on. Yeah. Oh, and there are so many troubles in this world, and I want to do my part to help the bigger picture. What do I want to teach my little girl? The golden rule, respect is love, and to remember. Sometimes you have pie for breakfast. Pie for breakfast, yeah. Join me. Pie for breakfast. Strawberry rhubarb pie, right? Pie for breakfast, yeah. And there's sugar-free pie for breakfast. Sometimes it's even good, you know. Pie for breakfast, yeah. And you got gluten-free pie, right? Yeah. Pie for breakfast. Quiche's a kind of pie, right? You know, protein pie for breakfast, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Ellis. It's always a treat when we get a song for a story and pie for breakfast. We're going to sing our children on our way with their facilitators to their circles. We're going to rise and body your spirit, number 1057 in the teal hymnal, Go Lifted Up.
I'm Reverend Jack, and my pronouns are he, him. Please join me in a moment of meditation or prayer. Gathered as we are together, about 115 people here in this room and 41 households on Zoom. However and wherever you are, let's take a big, deep breath and settle into this moment right here and now. Feel connected to your breath, to those around you, and to the earth. The days are getting longer. Our little stream outside is frozen solid, and the cold snap that came might be leaving soon. Here we are in the season of winter, experiencing a typical yet surprising sensation. Another winter has come with all its power and cold and wind. Those familiar feelings of isolation and separation fight against the desire to commune with one another, to build fires for warmth, to eat and drink together. We want to revel in our survival, and we know that not everyone or every creature does survive. The cycles of life and death swirl all around us, as do the cycles of joy and sorrow, whipping around us like the ice-cold wind, stirring up snowflakes. We celebrate being together today in this harsh and brutal beauty. This morning we hold in light and love Carol Marcella as she recovers from her wrist surgery. We send prayers of healing and rest. We pray for the family of Jill Schwendeman as they mourn the loss of Jill's mother, Florence. After 26 years of living with an illness that has a usual prognosis of 6 to 9 years, she died peacefully on Friday night, surrounded by family. We send waves of love and positive energy to accompany the waves of grief and loss. We pray for all those struggling with addiction, depression, isolation, loneliness, and seasonal affective disorder. May they find relief. We pray for those who are experiencing separations, deaths of loved ones, and the various losses which accompany us throughout life. May they find comfort. And now we take the time to speak out loud the names of those people that we are holding in our hearts and minds. Knowing that together, as a community, we are able to hold more than we can alone. May it be so, and amen. Please remain seated for our hymn, Filled with Loving Kindness, number 1031 in the Teal hymnal.
This is the moment in the service when we practice gratitude and support in the form of giving to our offering plate. The gifts collected today will go to support the mission of this congregation to grow our souls and serve the world. There are a couple ways you can give today. You can use the text to give feature. The number is in your order of service. You can give on the website, or you can place cash or a check in the offertory basket. Thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we live together. The offering will now be gratefully collected.
What makes you happy? I want to know. What makes you high when you've been low? Do you have a problem you can't handle on your own? Together we are stronger than we ever are alone. 'Cause I got you, and you know you got me. We have so much going for us, baby. We got love, and we are still young. We can change our world for the better. Oh, come on, yes. So when I say young, I mean young at heart, you know what I'm saying? Because like we all have that little person inside of us, and also the grown person inside of us that makes the world brighter, just being who we are. So there's more to this life than seeing all the problems. We're gonna work them out. Half the battle is changing how we fight. Remembering the love helps us see eye to eye. 'Cause I got you, and you know you got me. We have so much going for us, baby. We got love, and we are still young. We can change our world for the better. Oh, come on, yes. Do, 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 do. So if y'all will sing along with me. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I do this, you know. Do 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 do. Changing the world can be fun. Do 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 do. It doesn't always have to be so hard, you know. Do 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 do. Especially when we're doing it with each other, right? You know. Do 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 do. And we do things naturally all the time. Do 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 do. Just being who we are, we impact each other. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
The first reading is The Patience of Ordinary Things by Pat Schneider. It is a kind of love, is it not? How the cup holds the tea, how the chair stands sturdy and foursquare, how the floor receives the bottoms of shoes or toes, how soles of feet know where they're supposed to be. I've been thinking about the patience of ordinary things, how clothes wait respectfully in closets, and soap dries quietly in the dish, and towels drink the wet from the skin of the back, and the lovely repetition of the stairs. And what is more generous than a window?
The second reading is from Jan Richardson. Tangled, a blessing. I do not know any mercy but that it comes to us tangled, any blessing but that it comes to us bound with every other thing. Praise to the tangle, praise to the knots, praise to the love that travels a complicated way, and to the joy that meets us twined, spiraling in its intricate delight.
I'll tell you a secret that I've learned. Nobody knows everything. We all get caught up in what we think and believe it's the truth. But mostly we don't have the answers, and life can feel like an unsteady boat, drifting away from the land, making us feel alone. It is love that will carry you home. It is kindness that holds back the storms around you. It is patience sitting right beside the doubt. The only truth is what we do with right now. Something I finally come to realize. Oh, everyone has to compromise, and we can't do it all at the same time. It just doesn't work. But we can't spend our whole lives worrying about things out of our control. And then we find that life was built for change, and we have to let it all go. It is love that will carry you home. It is kindness that holds back the storms around you. It is patience sitting right beside the doubt. Well, the only truth is what we do with right now.
Thank you so much, Ellis, for your music. What a gift. I'm especially drawn to the lyrics of that last song. In the chorus, you sing beautifully about the love that will carry us home, the kindness that will hold back the storms around us. But in the verses, you talk to us about some hard truths. For instance, nobody knows everything. We don't have all the answers. I know that this one is hard for many of us, myself included, especially those of us greedy for knowledge and the dominance that comes from having the answers. You also describe life sometimes feeling like an unsteady boat, making us feel alone. You talk about the need for compromise and for embracing change. This tension between the chorus and the verses was a tension I experienced while preparing for this exact sermon. I had planned to preach a sermon today about ordinary love, the ordinary small acts of love and simple acts of kindness that sustain and nurture us. As small as they seem, they actually contribute slowly but surely to our liberation. And since our worship theme this month is liberating love, I wanted to pause and think about those little acts of ordinary love, like the way my partner occasionally will cook a meal for me while I'm writing a sermon. And then he'll also do cleanup from the meal, even though I usually have very strong feelings about the person who cooks, doesn't do cleanup. And yes, I am talking about last night. Thanks, Garrett. Maybe you all have experienced similar small acts of love and kindness recently. Or maybe you've been the one focusing on passing some of those around to others. Either way, those beautiful little wrapped or unwrapped gifts of love and kindness are so important right now. In our world that is so fraught with war and fighting, vicious arguing, and profound polarization, those little acts of ordinary love deserve our focus and celebration. Take some time this week to think about ways you have received them and given them. And take some extra time to think about ways you can continue to spread them around in the weeks to come. Ordinary love is vital to our survival and needs to be celebrated. But somehow, just like Ellis in their song, moved from chorus to verse, I moved from a sermon focused on ordinary love to a sermon about conflict. This might feel surprising to you until you realize that conflict is inevitable between two parties who are deepening their own relationship. We are not the same, and the more we get to know each other, the more we encounter those differences. I've been reading a book this year along with our staff and our board. It's called Transforming Conflict, The Blessings of Congregational Turmoil by Teresa Cooley. I think there are still copies of this book available in the bookstall in the social hall, and I encourage you to pick one up if this topic interests you, or maybe more if it scares you. In this book, she describes conflict not as a place that exclusively leads to anxiety, but one that also leads to transformation and to growth. Now, I've talked with many of you throughout my years here about your relationship to conflict, and I've noticed a pattern. Many of you don't like it. Right? Yeah. I'm seeing some I don't know who you're talking about. Don't worry, you're not alone. I don't like it very much either. But I have to admit, I've really warmed up to the concept of leaning into conflict as a source of transformation and growth. I can't point to any one specific cause, but I can name a few things that have helped me. First of all, I've learned more about coexisting with people who think and believe and act differently from me. By no means am I an expert, but the more I stay in relationship with the people with whom I disagree, the more I am practicing the skills necessary to engage with conflict healthfully. Second of all, I learned about the skill of remaining non-anxious in the face of conflict. I'd rather have the conflict come to the surface with clarity so it can be addressed, instead of simmering beneath the surface and coming to a slow boil without my knowledge. Third, when conflict arises between people in a deeply loving relationship, it is a great opportunity to get to know the other person better, along with their preferences and quirks and insecurities and gifts. Oh, and did I mention you also learn all of those things about yourself too? You notice your own preferences and quirks and insecurities, but also your gifts and insights and default settings. If you take the time to investigate how you act and react and interact within conflict, you'll begin to notice more about who you are and how you are in the world, the good, bad, and ugly. And the reason this is coming up today, during this sermon about ordinary love, is because it's virtually impossible, try as we might, to avoid experiencing conflict with those we love. The more you get to know someone, the more you notice your differences. You realize how different you are, and this realization doesn't have to bring you stress or anxiety, as long as you know how to hold your differences tenderly. In Pat Schneider's poem, The Patience of Ordinary Things, she describes the ordinariness of a cup holding tea, how the floor receives the bottoms of shoes or toes, how soles of feet know where they're supposed to be. She wonders aloud about the patience of ordinary things, how clothes wait respectfully in closets, and soap dries quietly in the dish, and towels drink the wet from the skin of the back, and the lovely repetition of stairs. And what is more generous than a window? This litany of ordinary things caused me to ponder the ordinary aspects of love. And one of them is the basic necessity to tell someone that you love when they're in the wrong, when they've hurt you, when they've made mistakes, when they have spinach in their teeth. These ordinary acts of love vary in size and difficulty, ranging from simple dental dangers all the way up to heartbreaking hurts. And sometimes a bolder form of love is required. Some people call that special form of bold love tough love, but I like to think of it as a form of love that practices accountability. Just like in Jennifer's chalice lighting this morning, where she experienced a tough form of love from her father, who was pushing her to follow through with her obligations, both for the sake of the obligation and because of the learning that was there for her. And I assume, though I didn't ask, that Jennifer often assigns her English students books to read and faces that same sense of obligation, but now from a different perspective. I'm so curious about this sense of tough or accountable love, and I wonder how many of you have experienced it in memorable ways. When I think about a time when I faced some tough love that asked me to take account for my actions, take responsibility for my actions, I think back to my high school days. My best friend at the time was Josh, and he and I were thick as thieves. We co-owned a lawn mowing business together, so we spent almost every day together over multiple summers. His parents had gotten divorced when he was younger, and he and his mom went through some pretty serious fights here and there when he was in high school. There would be months at a time when he would actually just end up living with my family, and we became, understandably, very close. Excuse me. We also hosted a weekly radio show at the Christian radio station up in Hibbing, Minnesota, which was about 45 minutes from our hometown. We drove up and back every Sunday night to play some of our favorite songs and have a little banter on the radio together. I still don't know why our parents let us do this. We were so young, I think 15, 16, 17, and we were the DJs. I don't know. We even discussed the weather at the top of the hour, like professional 16-year-olds. At some point during one of those trips, we were getting into an argument about something, and I said something mean to him. I don't remember what it was, but he called me out for being mean to him. And then I said that ubiquitous get-out-of-jail-free card that you may have also heard. I was just joking, right? You've heard that one before? Maybe you even used it before? I mean, you'd think it would be a brilliant way to get out of any sense of accountability or responsibility because he couldn't possibly be mad at me. I was joking, right? Well, as it turns out, that was not right, and also had used that line one too many times. So he finally just said to me, I get that you're joking here and there, and you're trying to be funny by being jokingly mean, but when you're jokingly mean this often, it just feels like you're being mean a lot. Joking or not, and it's not fun for me. Wow. That really stopped me in my tracks. It was super hard to hear. I didn't like the feeling of recognition that was washed over me, of shame, embarrassment, that I had been, jokingly or not, mean to him for quite some time. Enough to make him finally say something. He'd already been experiencing quite a bit of meanness and pain in his own personal and family life, and I was adding to it. It was a real eye-opener for me, and I approached sarcasm differently after that day. Don't get me wrong, I still use it here and there, with a deep sense of cushion of love, within good company, but I use it sparingly. That hard conversation I had with Josh, that act of tough love, deeply affected me, and I still remember it almost 30 years later. I invite you now to take some time to actually think about a brief story in your own life where you experienced tough, accountable love, where someone took the time to tell you what they were worried about, or tell you that you hurt their feelings. What did you learn from that act of tough love? For the next few minutes, I'm going to invite you to think more about this question or even possibly share with a neighbor. If you're on Zoom, feel free to share a few brief thoughts into the chat box about what you learned from receiving tough or accountable love. Aaron will open the chat box for you to share with each other. Be sure to change your settings so you can share with each other, not just the hosts. And then here in the room, take some moments, think about this. The invitation here is to share with a neighbor. It's not a requirement, it's an invitation, but you might be surprised by what you learn. So feel free to ask and answer the question, what did you learn when you received some tough love? I'll call you back together in a few minutes. Our second poet, Jan Richardson, talks about the love that travels a complicated way. And what other way is there to travel? Love comes to us with many complications, and it has multiple facets. You know this. My prayer for you today is that you will find a love that is shaped by accountability and deepened by complexity. My blessing for you is that you will know this ordinary love, which is also actually extraordinary love. Let's hear the poem one more time. Tangled, a blessing. I do not know any mercy but that it comes to us tangled, any blessing but that it comes to us bound with every other thing. Praise to the tangle, praise to the knots, praise to the love that travels a complicated way, and to the joy that meets us twined, spiraling in its intricate delight. May it be so, and make it so. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our final hymn, number 95, There is More Love Somewhere, in our gray hardcover hymnal. May we be attuned to the blessings and the mercy tangled up in knots. We know they are there, along with the love and hope and peace and joy. And may we keep on until we find them. Make it so. And now, for our postlude, Ordinary Love by Ellis.
Love, ordinary love, do 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 do. Love, this is the time of our lives. We are watching the tide come in and go out again. Love, such a beautiful night, walking here by your side. Oh, there's nothing else I'd rather do. Oh, love, ordinary love, sticking it out when the going gets tough. I keep coming home to you. Love, ordinary love, seeing the best and giving no less, working hard to be good for you. I got a feeling things are only getting brighter. We are stopping all that shadow boxing, seeing more light. We have made a decision to make our love better. Every moment is a chance to turn whatever's wrong right. We are magic in the making. We are making magic happen. Love, ordinary love. Don't you know I want you, love? We just get better with time, keeping each other in mind. Yeah, we got an everyday joy attitude. Oh, love, every day I'll be sticking it out when the going gets tough. I keep coming home to you. Love, I'll keep my eyes on the truth, seeing the best and giving no less, doing what I can do every day. Love, still the show love. We don't need fancy stuff to make our dreams come true. I got a feeling things are only